And coming up next.
And there have been a lot of historical things that have happened here. Everything from, like I said, JFK staying here that fateful night. The morning of his assassination, he actually gave a speech in what we call the Crystal Ballroom.
Welcome back, everyone. Now we are headed to the historic Hilton Fort Worth to find out all about its history and the famous names that have stayed there.
So we're in the presidential suite of the Hilton Fort Worth, which originally was built as the Hotel Texas in 1920, 1921. So this top floor was originally a ballroom and an area for dancing and parties, and then many years ago it was converted into a hotel floor, which includes this suite. And so it's several rooms. It's about 2,000 square feet, so it's large and spacious, and it's been decorated in memory of JFK, who he spent his last night alive in this hotel here. This hotel is located right across the street from the convention center, which is now called the Fort Worth Convention Center, but when JFK was around, it was called the Tarrant County Convention Center. It is pretty close to Sundance Square, so it's right here in a historical downtown Fort Worth. What's interesting about this hotel is, one, we just celebrated our 100th anniversary, so there aren't a lot of hotels from a historical standpoint that make it to 100 years. So we celebrated that last year here at the hotel, and there have been a lot of historical things that have happened here. Everything from, like I said, JFK staying here that fateful night. The morning of his assassination, he actually gave a speech in what we call the Crystal Ballroom. That's the ballroom here in the hotel. So that was his final speech. He also gave a speech that morning right across the street in the rain. So he has a very famous phrase that he said, that there's no faint-hearted people here in Fort Worth. And it was because people got up in the morning to come see him talk, and he talked a little bit about his appreciation for Fort Worth and the role that they've played in his administration and in the building of airplanes. And so it was a beautiful moment, but it was something where he came out in the rain to come see the people of Fort Worth. And so there's a lot of historical events that have happened here. The night of when JFK came to Fort Worth, he didn't stay in the presidential suite. Lyndon Baines Johnson's vice president stayed instead. And the reason is that he actually stayed on the 8th floor. And right now, those were suites. Now they're 3 separate rooms: 806, 808, and 810. So you can stay in those rooms. Now, the reason that he stayed there and not in the presidential suite here on the 15th floor is that the fire department was concerned that they didn't have any ladder trucks that went above the 8th floor. And so the Secret Service was insistent that he stay in a place where the fire department could get to him in case there was a fire. So you can stay in the actual room where he stayed if you stay in 808. Many historical people have stayed here. We've had a lot of different presidents and distinguished people. Even Governor Abbott has stayed here. President Trump stayed here. Maybe the most famous was an event that we had with Elvis Presley. Elvis Presley stayed here for several days in the summer and June of 1974. So some of the highlights of the suite mostly are around the artwork that exists. So there's a lot of historical paintings, historical photos of the president. And so this room has been renovated several times throughout the years, and it really is meant to express the regalness of the presidency, where you've got colors that are red, white, and blue. You've got really high ceilings, as we mentioned. This was built originally as a ballroom, so you have these beautiful chandeliers. You have this a bar area. You've got an expansive bathroom, multiple rooms with traditional classical furniture. The room tries to really reflect the dignity of the office of presidency. Overall, it's been a place that's been a part of Fort Worth history for the last 100 years, and so all of Fort Worth has a little bit of history here at this place. So you can come here, stay, get a great night's rest, go see restaurants and things outside, but it's kind of a Fort Worth institution that you can be a part of.